Mitch Garver. Garver for the year, as a whole, hasn't gone all that much better than Polanco. 590 OPS, 5 home runs, 79 WRC plus, negative 0.4 F4. Not great. Where do we start with him?
No. At least we saw him on defense this week. That was a plus. I'm actually, so we did wince at that. But at this point, we can start here. First of all, barely noticed him at all behind the plate, which is a very good thing, because if catchers are bad, you notice right away. Garver looked great back there. I mean, he was blocking, he framed a little bit, didn't let anything get past him. He was on a pitch count. I think he only caught until the 7th inning, and then Cal Raleigh took over. And they talked about this as a way to get Mitch Garver's bat going. As something they literally snuck in there right before our evaluations here on at the end of May. It's one of the few things I could say, okay, I'm almost, Lyle, now open to him going once a week, because you can't just roll him out at DH and him continuing to hit this bad, right? So you're going to want him to try and bring value in other ways. And if he believes, and the Mariners believe, that him catching more could help wake up his bat, then I think we're just going to have to accept the risk he could get hurt back there like he has in his career in an effort to get his bat going.
I don't think you want to accept that risk. Again, you're talking about then he's going to be out for 2+ months or Lord knows however long if he gets hurt back there. All the injuries that he's sustained in his career have been from behind the plate. Look, he was fine back there the other night, yes, but you're walking a tightrope by putting him back behind the plate, because again, this is a guy who does not play more than 85 to 90 games a year, because he has been injured every year of his career. He's actually stayed on the field through 2 months.
You would be against him catching once a week.
Kinda, because even the once a week thing could beat up on him. We're talking about he's already had back spasms. He's been day-to-day a few times this year, just as a DH.
But as just a DH, he's cost you half a win.
Is it solely because he's not catching? I don't know if that's what it is or not.
I don't know, but at this point, we're going to dive into his hitting numbers. But what other explanation? Because like I just said, if you're struggling, find a way to add value somewhere else. This can be a way to do that.
But he's also never graded out as a very good defensive catcher. Is he really going to provide value, even being back there once a week defensively?
I don't know if I'm quite in this camp, but some people could talk themselves into saying he would provide value, more the fact that he's just a better catcher than Sebi Zavala is. And you'd say, okay, that Cal off day, we are getting X amount better behind the plate. And I think that's valuable enough. Even just there, without him hitting a single thing.
Maybe. I guess Kirby was kind of the right guy for him to catch, because Kirby was around the zone. He was throwing strikes. He's going to, he's going to dot it up. You don't have to worry about a whole bunch of, bruises from George Kirby outings.
Yeah. Again, if he didn't take his mask off when Kirby was pitching, would you know it was him back there?
Yeah, I guess not. But I am still worried how this could potentially lead to injuries. Maybe we're spending too much time on this. All I know is he's got to get it going with the bat. Is it going to happen at catcher? I don't know. I will have to see it to believe it, because again, he is never really graded as a great defensive catcher.
Now, if we're going to get into his hitting profile, if you watch Mitch Garver's at-bats, you can pretty clearly see what the issue with is. Mitch Garver has really struggled this year overall, right on right breaking balls. That has eaten him up and spitting him out. I mean, especially sliders. This is the first time in his career he has been this bad against breaking balls. And it's specifically, Lyle, that you and I watch this all the time. I mean, bottom outside corner to a right-handed hitter, slider, on right slider. Boom, boom, boom. He has not hit that pitch at all this year. And I think that pitch alone is the reason he's not like a league average hitter. I legitimately think if he never faced a single right-on-right breaking ball this season, he'd be a league average hitter. Now, that's kind of unfair, because I think the overall offense in baseball would be a lot better if you took out a same handiness breaking ball against you, because there's a reason those pitches are so effective. But I legitimately think if you took that out from what he is facing, he's league average otherwise.
Considering he's still crushing lefties, sure. And that hasn't been Garver's issue. What he's done against lefties is exactly what you ask him to do against lefties when he was brought in here. Look at what he's done. He's got a 131 WRC plus against left-handed pitching right now. His OPS is just shy of 800. And his strikeout rate isn't great against lefties, but it's a little more manageable. It's 26.5% against lefties. But those righties, you're right about the sliders. That has been his toughest pitch to deal with, and it has resulted in him through 2 months putting up a 56 weighted runs created plus against right-handed pitching, which again, let's say it again. How is this happening? Maybe Garver, it's more justifiable because he is aging. He's 33 now. But he's never struggled with righties in his career. He's been better against lefties, but he's got a career 108 WRC plus against righties. He's hit righties. It hasn't given him fits left and right. And the strikeout rate is crazy right now against right-handed pitching, which still baffles me considering last year there was not one pitch that Mitch Garver truly struggled with, including the sliders. He was perfectly fine against sliders last year. All of a sudden here in 2024, it's a whole different story. And those sliders are absolutely eating him alive, like you just talked about.
The number is 49% strikeout rate against sliders this year. 49%. It's almost a free out when you throw Mitch Garver a slider. It's funny you mentioned last year. Lyle, which year do you think he reached base more often against fastballs and off-speed pitches? Against right-handers.
What year he's done it the most in his career? Is that what you're asking?
No, the last 2 seasons, right on right fastballs and off-speed pitches. Which year, this year or last year, did he reach base more often?
The fact you're phrasing it like this, it sounds like the answer is going to be 2024.
It is this year. It's
Crazy.
Just the breaking balls. That's it. He has been better. Reaching base more, not slugging as much, but reaching base more against right-handers throwing off-speed and fastballs than he did last year, which was one of the best, most complete offensive seasons of his career.
It's crazy. And against those sliders, he slugged a little under 400 against sliders last year. He didn't light that pitch on fire, but he was fine. He's slugging 128 against sliders right now. And you know what? The sinkers are doing him no favors either. That's the biggest drastic difference. The breaking balls have been the breaking balls, but these sinkers are chewing him up too. He slugged over 500 last year against sinkers, against those two-seam fastballs. Right now, he is slugging 095 against sinkers. I don't know. And again, is it all age? How does that happen? Because most of the sinkers you're going to see, yes, they're from righties, which he does not fare as well against. But he crushed him last year. What's changed?
Shrug.
Yeah.
Shrug. I don't know. And the pitchers have picked up on this too. Like they have fully realized we're throwing him more breaking balls than anything else. His sliders is what pitchers throw to him the most, period, of any pitch type. He sees more breaking balls overall than he does fastballs, which is very rare, even in today's Major League Baseball, where breaking balls are more prevalent than ever. He gets more breaking balls than fastballs. And I mean, think about this. This is like a very easy, I feel like, I know you were never great at math, but hear me out. So he faces righties, 75% of the time, give or take, because that's the split of righties in baseball about. And righties throw him breaking balls about 50% of the time. They throw a pitch to him. And if he can't hit breaking balls, do the math on his offensive season. Don't hit breaking balls. You face right on right breaking. You don't hit right on right breaking balls. You see right on right pitchers 75% of the time, and they throw you that pitch half the time. What happens? That means you really have to do damage against everything else. And unfortunately, he's not. Reaching base, yes. Doing damage, not really.
I can't even believe I'm going to have to throw this idea out there, but given the numbers being what they are we going to get to a point in time where the Mariners are going to have to think about platooning a DH that they paid $12 million a year to?
Yes. You can't, because right now you cannot, in good faith, building your best possible lineup at full health, have him hit against a righty, especially righties with good breaking balls. Because the numbers tell you it's not working.
Mm-hmm. It works against lefties, but not against righties.
No.
So in these situations, if there's a righty on the mound, somebody else would have to come in and DH. And who would
bring
be the normal...
Rayleigh in DH? Probably, right?
But Rayleigh would be in against a righty anyway, right?
Right. Well, you might have to shuffle it around and put him at DH and put someone else in the outfield, even though you would want Rayleigh out there. He's one of your 3 best defenders in the outfield.
So if on a normal day against a right-handed pitcher, your outfield is Canzone in left, Julio in center, Rayleigh in right, or sorry, I should say Rayleigh in left, Julio in center, Canzone in right, and you're not going to DH Garver, that leaves Sebi Zavala, Jonathan Clase, and Mitch Haniger. And Mitch Haniger doesn't really hit righties all that great either.
What about Bliss?
Could be Bliss. If he keeps hitting, all the more reason he's got an actual chance to stay if he keeps hitting, because that might be a spot for him where that's not going to be a DH that's going to hit you 30 bombs, but it could provide some production. I think Bliss is at bats. I know he doesn't have his first hit yet as of time of recording, but I actually think his at bats have been pretty competitive. Can
you eclipse a 62 WRC plus against righties? That's what they're asking. And maybe, just maybe Mitch Garver turns it around. But we're running out of time to find out, at least this season, because like the flaw in his approach has been exploited this season to the ultimate extent, and there's no counter besides just not letting him face that pitch.
At what point do they actually make that executive decision? Is it the All-Star break? Is it sooner than that?
It's June 1st, right? It's going to be June 1st this weekend. Like as we said, we're doing our evaluations. I think the Mariners are doing the same thing. There's only so long you could do this. It is sometime probably within the next 45 days. And that would be the All-Star game.
That's going to be a tough pill to swallow too. Again, platooning a DH that you paid $12 million a year to. And the Mariners
with Jerry abandoning his philosophy of being of having a versatile DH spot and saying, all right, we're going to have a full-time DH, only to eventually, like you said, platoon the DH.
In what is the biggest position player contract the Jerry Dipoto era Mariners have ever given out. And let's preface this again. This is not a knock on Jerry and Justin. We know where the knock there is. There's a reason they don't go out and spend money, and it is not their decisions. But this is the player they have invested the most in that is a position player in free agency.
Before we move on to Luke Rayleigh here, I just want to propose you a question. If you and I were to go back to February and tell ourselves, like, when we're talking like second base and DH fixed. Well, not right now.
What reason did we have to believe it wasn't going to be fixed?
We didn't have any.
Garver literally put up about a 140 WRC plus last year.
I know.
Again,
as I say,
how does this happen to this franchise?
Yeah. I wish I had an answer. I wish I had an answer, Lyle. I don't.